Hi everyone, I just wanted to say a few words regarding Autism Awareness Month and all these awareness campaigns that are operating at the moment around the world. As you know, we walked in red last Sunday, a wonderful event which was put together by a friend of mine, Evelyn Welton, and Fiona Quinn, and there was other great people involved as well, and it really went down a huge success. We had, I think there was 120 people present, and we walked and we celebrated, and there was people talking and singing and poetry, and it was just such a lovely event to experience positivity regarding autism. We promote the message of acceptance, which you all know by now, because we know awareness is not going to lead to inclusion and equality in our society. We have to accept autistic people and for who they are, so that they can, have the same rights as every other human being living on the planet. Awareness is important. I've said this over and over from an educational point of view. I studied autism in university and know that it's a very serious issue to educate society about what autism is. But autistic people really have so much information to give, and I suppose by engaging with autistic people, it just makes sense that they will know the most about autism because they live on the spectrum. So it is kind of odd, I suppose, that I see so many organisations not having autistic people involved. It just doesn't make sense to me, and I really find it sad because throughout this month, and we're only on day 4 of April now, and there has been a lot of negativity regarding autistic people speaking out on these issues, and many people saying, "Oh, why are you complaining about Autism Speaks?" I mean, after 10 years of them operating with their discrimination and their misinformation and their negative rhetoric, you think people might have learned by now what they're like. It's not like we haven't given enough information. It really just surprises me that people still choose to light it up blue with all of that horrible stigma and discrimination that they represent as an autism organisation. And I suppose I want to tie in with that the recent statements from Bob Wright regarding Vax, this movie Andrew Wakefield has made, which Tribeca finally, took the right moves, and they didn't let it be aired, but it is being aired in smaller screens and cinemas, independent films, etc. And Bob Wright, was asked about this, and in an interview for NBC recently, and he said they haven't really distinguished the vaccine autism causation theory. He didn't come out and say clearly that vaccines do not cause autism, which is what everyone knows by now. And I found that very serious statement that he made there, because it was very much kind of leaving an opening for people to promote Wakefield again. And this is what I find very concerning with Autism Speaks is how they operate in general, I suppose, and the fact that they do have a lot of publications on their website of dangerous unregulated treatments like TMS, this magnet treatment, which I have written about recently. And I've received a lot of negative feedback from autistic people as well, who have given out to me about my concerns around Robertson, the autistic advocate that is blatantly promoting this. I mean, he's just everywhere in every paper, and in the Telegraph today, he's in a UK newspaper, which is closer to my turf, so to speak. I was actually born in London. So I'm a bit annoyed because the media seems to be talking about this TMS, this unregulated, unproven treatment for autism, without doing any real research into the facts that it isn't regulated for obvious reasons. So they just seem to be saying, oh, it's wonderful, and this will switch on the autistic brain and we'll be able to think like neurotypicals and feel emotions, and we won't be in the dark anymore, which is what Robertson describes TMS as, kind of like a life-changing event for him, where he was in the dark and now he could see, a magical experience, which I'm quoting him there on. I find that very worrying, because even though he is saying that he's not promoting it, this is what he's told me, he is influencing people. And what I've seen is many parents saying, I'm seeking this for my child now because they've heard him talk and they're so impressed by his depiction of TMS. So the big problem is that, he might not be going out there and saying, I recommend this for your child. He calls himself an autism consultant. He holds that title. And because of that title, he has a responsibility, because people will think of him as a professional and they will say, well, he must be right. He's an autism consultant. He must know what he's talking about. And that is promotion, and that is dangerous in my opinion. And I really find it strange that people are not seeing that they are missing that important point with all of this. If he was using MMS, which is that awful bleach treatment we all know about, and he was saying, well, I'm not recommending it, but it's great, and there's videos and there's books and whatever, I think people would be making noise. TMS is not MMS, but it is an unregulated, invasive treatment where you are playing with somebody's brain, so to speak. And I think that's pretty serious. And I know through my research into TMS that this is being given to 3-year-old autistic children in California in the Brain Treatment Center. That's a 3-year-old child. That's like going at someone's brain that isn't even developed properly. I just don't understand why people are just blindly going along and saying, isn't it wonderful, without looking at anything. Does anyone actually research anything anymore? Obviously, most media outlets aren't doing this. And that's why I wrote my article about this. And, if an adult wants to choose to go and take an unregulated product, that's their own choice. These children don't have a choice. And, if John wants to talk about this and his experience, I don't have a problem per se with that. But when he calls himself an autism consultant and he's in professional circles and he's giving talks and he's writing books, that does pose a completely different element on this whole issue. And it does concern me. And I find it very irresponsible, actually, that he cannot see that as an autism consultant. I'm an advocate and I've studied autism in university, and if I thought something was great from my own personal experience, I certainly wouldn't go out and promote it if it was unregulated and unproven as well to benefit autistic people. I don't understand that, and I find it very careless. And what I'm seeing is more and more parents, commenting on threads saying, oh, they're going to try this on their child because of him promoting this treatment. So it's a very serious issue. And Dr. Bradstreet would have, actually worked greatly in the TMS, treatment and he did research into that. And we all know what Bradstreet was like. He basically tried everything to, cure autistic children, which was his goal, with his fecal implants, his chelation, his stem cell, TMS, which is something that he was also involved in. And he did a research project with autistic children, and the ethical issues, the consent around that, what is going on? What do they think these kids are? Little guinea pigs or lab rats that they can just take them and say, hey, let's zap their brain? Because this is what they call it. I've seen it being referred to as that. And I saw an account actually of one of the mothers who did this research with Bradstreet, and she wrote about her daughter and what happened to her whilst getting these TMS treatments on her, and how she deteriorated greatly, how she was screaming and how she had headaches and how she was traumatized. And she kept bringing her back because she was encouraged to do this by Bradstreet and his research, even though the child was suffering immensely. And it didn't work out. It actually ended up where she had to actually leave in the end. You need to get like a lot of these TMS treatments. And so even though the child was suffering and really just, in my opinion, being tortured from the descriptions of the mother's writings, Bradstreet still encouraged her to go back and get more and more. And I just find it absolutely appalling, actually, how they can take these children and just torture them with bleach and chelation and TMS and now neurofeedback here in Ireland and the UK. I've spoken to a neuroscientist who's doing neurofeedback on children here in Ireland, and he was just laughing at me, knowing it's not regulated, but there is no legislation to stop these people, and that's the reality which we're trying to change. So I just wanted to bring some just raise my concerns again around that, because we call it Autism Awareness Month, to be aware of autism. But what we need to be aware of is the reality of this abuse and experimentation that no one seems to want to talk about. And there's a group of people out there, including myself, trying to raise issues around this, and I don't think it gets enough debate, discussion. And it's really hard for me. I have worked very hard on this issue, as you all know, for the last 2 years, and we have had success. People are being investigated. There's investigations here in Ireland into parents using MMS and into professionals as well. We know that Dr. McGee lost his medical licence last November in Belfast, and I'm involved in investigations now with a dentist here in Ireland. There will be we will be going into court in the summer sometime to discuss this, and I've actually signed statements recently in relation to that. She was offering MMS. She was actually selling MMS in her clinic, in her practice here in Ireland, and so it's really bad when we see professionals like that. And then we have the other side of it, where we have the quacks and the charlatans and people like Amanda Mary Jewell, who are out there just, oh God, I mean, what can you say about her? Doing what they're doing, and they just don't have any, they don't care. They just, I don't know, they're heartless. There's no word to describe them. But what I'm really shocked is when I see autistic people or people in the autistic community, or calling themselves advocates or consultants, actually promoting quack treatments. And, they know deep down that parents are going to look at that and think, hang on a second, maybe I'll try that for my child. And it's happening. And it's happening right now. So I really have strong annoyance with that. I don't understand that. If you call yourself neurodiverse, so you're out there fighting for the autistic community, then on the other hand, you're actually promoting dangerous, unregulated products, writing about it and making money out of it as well, which is what's happening here with the books and all the talks. And no one seems to be questioning that. Why? Because Robeson is on the spectrum. That gives him, some kind of consent to do this. Keep your personal spirit. If you want to talk about doing those things to yourself, that's fine. But I think the fact that when you're using the title of a consultant, that is irresponsible and dangerous, really dangerous. Okay, and I'm saying this because I've just seen so much promotion. My goodness, if we could get the same media attention to the quack treatments and the torture of autistic children, we'd be so happy. But the point is, there's this one article after the other, and then now, again, in the UK, I have reached out to the journalist of the Telegraph, and I hope she gets back to me. And I will be telling her the truth about TMS and the dangers involved, and the fact that children are being experimented on with this quack treatment. I just wanted to say that Autism Awareness Month should be about that. It should be about those people who are out there profiting or, trying to promote these awful, unregulated, unproven treatments to autistic children and adults. And that's what I just wanted to say. And I feel very strongly on this. And, I don't care what people think, to be honest. I've had somebody reach out to me talking about Robeson recently, and I've made it clear. This is not an attack on any person or any individual. All I care about are the children and the adults that are victims of this experimentation. And all I care about is trying to stop those that are profiting greatly from experimenting on vulnerable people. That's what this is about. That's what Autistic Rights Together are about. It's not about making friends or anything like that. It's about trying to protect people from harm. And this is harm. And it's so... on every level, the psychological factors. I mean, the long-term effects of these treatments as well. The research isn't there. The studies are not there. And actually, the irony is, when I reached out to this college that Elder had his TMS done in, they told me that they don't want to be affiliated with it being an autism treatment, and they don't give it to autistic children anymore. And that is all written in my blog. If anyone wants to find it on Tumblr, you can read about it. So that's all I wanted to say, because I think it needs to be said, and I think it's time that people realise how serious this is. This isn't just a small scale. There are like thousands of children around the world being experimented on with these dangerous quack treatments, and be it the bleach one, or be it chelation, or GCMAF. These things with the brain really freak me out, because there's a lot of ethical issues here, trying to change our brain, trying to say that our brain is disordered. It's different. It's not disordered. And yes, we might think and do things differently, but it doesn't mean that we need to be changed. Changed to what? To normal? What is normal? What is the normal brain? The consent issues around that as well, and the ethical issues are really just things that need to be addressed. And I mean, if someone has an experience, about having no feelings, being in the dark, we're not in the dark. I have Asperger's, and I think we feel very deeply, and we're very passionate about, caring about other people in society, and, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing, and I think that being on the spectrum, helps me to focus more on justice and bringing about rights for the autistic community. And I just find it so sad that someone would think, that trying to change their brain is the right way to go about that. It's quite sad. But look, if that's what you want to do as an adult, you want to go out and experiment, take these quack treatments, that's fine, do that. You're consenting to that. But when it comes to 3-year-old children, or any child for that point, being forced into these treatments, risking their lives and experimenting on them, I have an issue with that. And that's the point I want to make. Those promoting these treatments under a professional title like an autism consultant, they're influential, and they're influential. Their comments, everything they do, their books, their videos are affecting parents of autistic children. They're listening, and they're taking that in, and they're saying, hang on, he knows what he's talking about, because he's an autism consultant. And they're going out there and they're seeking these treatments, and they're experimenting on their children on foot of those promotional videos, those talks, those books. So that's the point I want to make. And, I really think that people need to be aware of that, and aware of what's going on here, and how awful it is for these kids that are being experimented on, and the suffering that they're going through, be it with MMS or TMS or whatever. There's just so many of them now. After 2 years actively involved in this on a daily basis, that's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing more new quack treatments develop every day. And, we want legislation to make it a criminal offence to promote, use or sell any unregulated treatment product on autistic children and adults, and we will get there. But what we'd really like, it would be great if the autistic community, understood that it's not helping our fight when we have people promoting these dangerous, unregulated products. And, if you really care about autistic people, you would not do that. You would actually say, hang on a second here, this is very irresponsible of me, because, my promotion is influencing parents here, and they are doing this, and that's the reality. And these treatments cost thousands. I mean, this is like a huge profit being made here out of kids' brains, and it's just really twisted, and it's really, really quite scary, to be honest with you. And it has to stop, and that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. I'm doing because it's not just the fact that I'm on the spectrum and my children are, it's because I just see it as a violation of human rights. You don't have to be, if this was any other group in society, I would be speaking out as well. And if people can't see that, then I don't understand it. These kids don't have a choice. They're not signing up for this. They're being made to do this, and their parents are misguided. They're misguided by charlatans and quacks, and now they're being misguided by so-called autism consultants. Which I just will not accept. And I just want to make that point, again and again. This is not a personal attack on anybody. I'm here to protect children and adults on the spectrum from unregulated, unproven treatments. And that's why we do what we do. So thank you for listening. I probably went on a lot longer than I should have, but I really wanted to get this off my chest. And I hope that you can take the time to listen, and I appreciate you supporting what we do. And just be aware, of these treatments, and be aware of the promotion, because the promotion is the biggest issue. Without promotion, these treatments wouldn't be used on children. If the promotion was removed, these treatments would stop. So that's what we're trying to do, is address that element of it, because that's where it begins. It begins with the person saying, hey, look, this is great, I've used this, And I'm just really quite shocked at how much promotion these unregulated treatments get, and it needs to be addressed. So please just remember, that none of these products, TMS, MMS, GCMAF, all of them, they're not proven to help autistic people. They're not regulated, and most of them are dangerous. Some of them lethal, which MMS would be very, very serious. And just remember that in Autism Awareness Month, that Autism Speaks do and have promoted these treatments in the past, and still are on their website. So when you light up blue, just remember with the link to that, and the discrimination and the stigma that they also represent. as an organisation. So autism awareness should be about protecting the autistic community and respecting them and valuing them. And that's what I'm trying to put the message out there today, is to be mindful of what the word awareness means and how acceptance sounds much better and is what we want as in the autistic community. Okay, thanks for listening, guys. Talk again. Bye.